Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director for the Mobile County Public Schools. In the studio today, we have track coach Zach Gibson from Theodore High School, and from Davidson High School, soccer coach Kevin DeLonga. But first, let's get to the scoreboard. In boys baseball, BC Rains lost a close one to Cottage Hill Christian, 11-10. Centennial lost to Satsuma, 2-1. Bowles led MGM to a 5-4 win over Murphy. Lewis Fan 12 as Theodore shut out Davidson 12-0. Chandler and Hayes led Alma Bryan over Baker 3-1. Gano doubled twice to lead Theodore over LaFleur 10-0. Allen struck out 13 as Blunt defeated Chickasaw 7-3. In girls softball, Summerlin's Grand Slam helped Baker top Faith Academy 13-4. Davidson used a big fourth inning to beat Murphy 11-4. Viger lost a doubleheader to St. Paul's 15-0 and 18-1. Wilson and Wilson led MGM past Centennial 3-1. LaSource led Alma Bryan over LaFleur 20-0. And that is it for this week's scoreboard. After this break, we'll be back with Coach Gibson.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws. Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
For me, it started back in 1942 when my family moved to Mobile, and I began my high school career at Murphy High School. Today, it's so important to be able to ingrain in yourself what are you going to do in future life, and you need to be prepared. And so subsequently, everything at Murphy was very important in my life, and so it was instrumental in preparing me for future life and future profession that I wanted to be in.
Sweetheart, can I give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Welcome back. Our first segment today we have from Theodore High School, track coach Zach Gibson. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, it's springtime, even though the weather doesn't appear to be springtime. You want to talk a little bit about how your season's been going so far?
It started out wet and cold. We've really had to kind of dodge the rain and the cold, and kind of have a young team. I graduated my entire 4x1 last year, and we ended up third in the state, so we kind of lost a lot of speed and experience, but I've got some young guys kind of filling their shoes, and we've been going pretty good so far. Coach,
speaking of cool, damp weather, well, some of it's been just downright cold. How do you, when you go out and practice in cold weather, do you have to make adjustments as far as stretching extra or with your kids?
We do. We always, any time that cold or not, I always make sure that they run a little bit before they ever start to stretch, kind of get the blood going to the muscles and the muscles warmed up, and then and we'll spend a little more time, do a few more stretches when it's cold, just an injury prevention type thing.
Coach, who are some of your top performers this year?
Well, Nick Reed is javelin and hurdler. He ended up coming in third in the javelin at the Line Newell's throw meet and threw personal best, 157 feet. So he's one of my better throwers and hurdlers. And then I've got DeMarcus Edwards. Is a sprinter and a long jumper, anchor leg of the 4x1, and Derek Dortch is another sprinter that's done well.
Coach, you want to talk a little bit about the Line Newell meet? It's a little different from the rest of them. You want to talk about the events and what it stands for and all? Sure.
The Line Newell meet is named after a former UMS athlete that's passed away. And I want to say this is this was the 10th
Yeah, it's been a while.
annual, right? And it's a charity meet where they get sponsorships, and it's strictly a throws meet. So they throw the shot, put the javelin, the discus, and then the proceeds go to charity.
Coach, what big meets do we have coming up in the future here? I know we got the county. Let's talk about the county.
All right, we've got the county meet coming up this next Wednesday and Thursday, the 9th and the 10th. It'll start at 1 o'clock, be at Theodore. It's a 2-day meet, you know. There'll be over 20 schools, so it's a big meet, and we're hoping for good weather and smooth sailing.
Coach, people don't realize what it takes in hosting a meet. Most people are not lucky enough to have a track like you do.
Very fortunate.
But on the other hand, it's a lot of preparation. Go into some of the things and the people involved when you host a track meet.
The key thing in hosting a track meet is having plenty of help. And we've got that around Theodore a lot. Most of the coaches at Theodore have been there for a long time. A lot of them graduated from Theodore. They've got a vested interest in the school doing well. Some of them have kids gone through, some of them have kids there right now. And a lot of help from everybody. The custodial staff has a tremendous amount of work getting prepped, getting cleaned up. Our administration does a good job of making sure we have everything that we need, and kind of helping with crowd control during the meet and preparation. There's a lot of help is the key thing.
And Coach Meredith does a good job in kind of coordinating.
He does. He does an excellent job coordinating, making sure the grounds are good, and kind of a liaison, making sure that everybody knows what we need of them, and that everybody's at the right place. And he's our girls track coach this year, and it's really been nice, all the help with the grounds and just prepping everything. I've been able to kind of just focus more on the paperwork. It's been a load off of me, really.
I tell you, Coach Meredith, if he's got an event at Theodore, he wants everything perfect, does it? I mean, from the grounds to everything.
He does. He wants it to go well. He wants Theodore to look good and do their best, and he really does a good job of that. He did a lot for the basketball team.
Right.
They had a lot of success this year. We ended up hosting the area tournament, and he did a lot making sure that ran smooth.
Coach, are there any other big meets, or have we had most of them?
Well, now this past weekend there was the St. Paul's Relays out at St. Paul's.
And it's later than normal, wasn't it?
It is. Usually it's real early, and then the Southeastern Relays are later on in the year, and there was a scheduling issue with South Alabama, where we did the Southeastern Relays, and I think that was one of the only Saturdays that were going to be available. It was real early in the season. Of course, St. Paul's track's always available to them. So they kind of switched their dates, and we've got the Challenge of Champions coming up this Friday. And so Challenge of Champions, and then the county, and then sectionals after spring break, and that kind of wraps it up until the state meet.
Coach, talk a little bit about the Challenge of Champions. This is a nationwide thing.
It is.
We've had people, I mean, it's not just local, we get people from all over.
We do. We get people all over the country. Steve Schoenwold hosts it, and it's a 2-day meet. The first day is an open meet, and you'll have a ton of athletes there. They host it out at UMS, and you know, it's a full track meet. And then the next day is the invitational, and that's held at St. Paul's, and that's where you have the elite athletes from all over the country. Sometimes he'll take the best mark or the best time from the open division and invite them back the next day, depending on you know, if he has open lanes or things.
And you know, that meet, you'll see some times that rate right up there at the top in the nation.
National elite, right?
And
right,
so
right
it's really, if you want to see a good track meet with some of the nation's best, then that's a good one to go to. Coach, what is some of the competition in our area this year with some of the teams? Who else? You always compete every year, but some of the others?
You know, Baker's got a really good team. They're hurdlers, both boys and girls. The high hurdles and intermediate hurdles. They've got a great hurdling set. I believe they've got the fastest 4x100 time kind of in Mobile or Baldwin County right now from what I've seen. Davidson always does a real good job. They've got a lot of good jumpers, sprinters. They also have some good hurdlers, but good programs. But
Okay, Coach, appreciate. We'll have you back here the last segment. After this break, we'll be back with our other guest.
I transferred to Viger High School halfway through my sophomore year, and the curriculum there, the instructors, teachers, the whole thing was just a shock to me. At Viger, you were encouraged to critically think, and so I was just well-grounded to move on into college football and then on into the NFL. Well, for me, Viger High School was the start. It's where I started, and I'm very proud of that.
Nationwide, an average of 24 children die each year.
And another 17,000 are injured in bus-related accidents.
Many of these can be prevented. The safety of our children comes first.
For the safety of our future, obey all traffic laws related to school bus safety.
Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
So I've come up with the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to our second segment. We have Coach Kevin DeLonga from Davidson High School. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Coach, you want to talk a little about your soccer season up to this point? I know you've probably had the same problems as others with matches rained out and having to practice on sloppy fields. So you want to talk a little bit about it?
Definitely. Well, we're in Mobile, so we know that you just wait a little while, like they say, and then the rain will come and the weather will change. So there's certainly that. We've been fortunate. We've still been able to get a lot of games in to reschedule and that, and all the coaches have really worked with one another to make it work and that. With regards to the season, really flying high right now. We're fortunate. We're 11-2 at this stage, but it's always as you get toward the end of the season, you're always wanting to peak, right, which it seems like we are still a lot of room for improvement, and seem like we are tweaking it to where we are still moving up and peaking at the right time.
Coach, I find this out from Ms. Wright. What I think is so unique about your soccer team, how many different countries have you got represented?
Well, we have one less than the previous year. We had 11 last year. This year we have 10 represented. Amazing. So if I include myself, then we're back to the 11. So, but other than that, I guess I'm not one of the soccer players, but I do represent a country too.
Coach, that has got to help your program because, countries over there, soccer is the thing. It is the football. Where here in the United States, especially I think in our area of the country, we were so late in bringing soccer in. It's just. But I bet having those guys really helps, doesn't it?
It definitely does. There's no doubt about it. Where the education of the soccer is moved on to the American kids and that, and it's just. It helps tremendously. There are one or two pitfalls for it because you've got all the different types of players which bring a different type of style. So that has been a challenge over the years, but however, it's definitely improved the soccer as a whole in the Mobile County area.
So it's kind of raised the bar for the American kids, hasn't it?
Very much so, and I will even advance to say that if not, a lot of the American kids have actually improved to the point of actually being better than some of the foreigners.
Coach, your program is gotten so big, and we started the JV supplement this year. Yes. And before, I think you was probably doing all of it, or majority of it. So has that helped out with the JV supplement this year?
It definitely has. There's no doubt about it. With that many many people, students participating, it's definitely hard to keep a hold on it. So without previous years' volunteers that have helped in the past has been phenomenal, and this year with the supplement for all the programs, because you've got so many student athletes that are involved in that, so it has helped to kind of to make sure that the program runs successfully.
Coach, you want to talk a little bit about your staff?
Oh, without a doubt. Coach Riley, Fred Riley, without his support, and Mrs. Wright, we talked about Mrs. Wright, behind the scenes,
right.
They are just, without a doubt, administratively, if I couldn't do without them. They've always, if I have a problem, a question, they're always eager. They go to bat for us, not bringing baseball terms in, but they go to bat for us. And then my staff, Glenn Davis, who is kind of the managerial part, the administration part, off the scenes too, and a coach, Eric Ackerman. Between the three of us, we definitely keep the program running at a good level.
Coach, talk a little bit about your area this year and some of the teams in there.
Well, you know, talk just before, if you don't mind, before we go to the area play, we have a metro tournament, which is the best of Baldwin County and Mobile County, where we play against each other. And some of the teams that I wanted to talk about, one was Viger with Coach Moody, and then the other one was Citronelle with Coach Pippins. And I just wanted to mention them because they have brought that program up tremendously.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I've got to sing them praises. I've spoken to them via emails and personally, and just to see in all round how programs have just developed and what they've done with those kids is just phenomenal. With regard to the area, you know, we're fortunate enough. We're playing good soccer, which when you play good soccer and everything is gelling, you have a tendency to beat the teams well. But it's not lack of the coaching. Coach Higgins at Bryant, Coach McGuff at Theodore, those coaches have been around and they've been consistent. And with that consistency, there's just one of those things. And you know, obviously Coach Rogers has been there many years at Baker. So the programs there have always benefited from the coaches. They are absolutely phenomenal. We just happen to be fortunate enough to be having a very successful year.
And Coach, you bring up a good point with Viger and Citronelle. Those are not exactly soccer-oriented schools,
Yes.
just like a lot of schools, they have their specialty, their sport that they're good at every year. And some of them are good at all of them, some of them are fair at all of them, but
Yes.
those are two situations where, you know, it's probably tough to get soccer players there. So I appreciate you bringing that up because it's always good to see people go into these programs and just
Certainly.
almost start from scratch and bring it up.
Certainly.
Coach, have you played in any other tournaments? You mentioned the one with the Metro. But
We
any other
did.
tournaments?
In the beginning of the year, we played against, in the Southern Shootout, we played that tournament, and then we also played the Island Cup down in Orange Beach. We got to see some of the northern teams, which are always our main rival as we get closer to state and our third round of playoffs and that. We played toe-to-toe with them. We definitely competed, winning some, losing some close matches. Mountain Brook, we lost 1-0. That's one of our few losses, but beating Huntsville 2-1. So we're excited because we know that as we get further on in the playoffs, we definitely have the opportunity, if the way it goes, if the ball bounces your way, we have the opportunity to make it to the big scene, which is up in Huntsville.
Coach, you've mentioned that you've competed with these people. How do we compare with the northern part of the state? Is there any gap there, or?
There is a gap and I think the gap is with the youth development.
Right,
So
I agree.
there's no doubt about their programs are so well developed, both at a club level and a high school level and that. So I think that's where we have our little bit of our downfall on that. However, it's picking up. The club levels around here are really coming together as a whole. The whole city is coming together as a whole. and we're developing good teams. And then I don't know if you were going to bring this up or not, but with regards to middle school, we're talking to Mr. Hack. He has implemented the opportunity of maybe middle school programs being developed, and that is just, it couldn't be better for soccer. It couldn't definitely not be better for soccer. So I'm excited to see that being implemented. That would be where we take one step in the right direction for soccer.
That's true. Coach, we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll continue our conversation about soccer in our area. After this break, we'll be back with Coach Gibson and Coach DeLongo.
It started for me when I went into the first grade, and then I went on to George Hall Elementary School, and from there to Williamson, where I graduated. The public school system, it had a great impact on me because not only did it prepare me academically for my future career, but it also prepared me for life. Because of its diversity of students and teachers, it really gave me a well-rounded education.
So, Nicholas, how was your day at school today?
It was great. We had fun in class today.
So, what did you do differently today at school? I mean, any new projects?
We got a progress report today.
You got your progress reports today? So, how did you do?
Don't know.
You don't know. That's okay. We can check that right here. Wow. Nicholas.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again now.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
Welcome back to our last segment. We've got both our guests back, and Coach, I want to continue a little bit on what we was talking about. I think one of the disadvantages that our area has in soccer is just finding a place to play, facilities. And I read in the paper the other day where they were trying to get some more soccer fields developed, but really there's not a lot of soccer fields in Mobile, is it?
There is not. If you look at the high school playing fields, just about every single one is on an American football field. Right. We follow up. Fortunately, those two sports don't overlap, else I'm not certain what we would be doing. But yes, in the general area, if you look to the east, to the west, to the north, there's so many programs that have individual facilities and that, and it would be very exciting in the Mobile County just as a whole to see us have a facility for soccer.
Right. Coach Gibson, people, and I've asked this question before, people don't realize working in a community school how good it is. You can talk a little bit about working at Theodore and having the whole community on Friday nights. Everybody's at the ball game for football. So
sure, I graduated from Theodore. A lot of our coaching staff did, and the high school is really important to Theodore because there's really no downtown Theodore.
Right.
I mean, it's a strip of Highway 90, but there's no central government or anything. It's kind of a big area geographically that we pull students to for the school. So the school is very important to the community. The community support's tremendous. You go to football games and the stands are packed, and basketball games. It's nice having a lot of community support like that.
It really is. Coach Gibson, you talked a little about your administration, you talked a little bit about some of your coaches, but how they support you also?
Yeah, Mr. Rouse, a former track coach himself, so he takes good care of us, makes sure we have what we need, and does a good job with helping us make sure we have all the facilities that we need, and kind of helps us push the student body to come out to track. Mr. Rowley, he'll even be known to come out and work with the long jumpers a little bit here and there, and it's nice having an administration. Mr. Mitchell was a former track coach too, Don Mitchell. And so it's nice having an administration that kind of knows what goes into it and what you know, what you need, and they've been there. Yeah, they've been in your shoes, and it really makes your job a lot more pleasant when they know and you're not having to kind of explain to them or you know.
I just think Theodore's got some great facilities. They got the tennis courts out front. I guess we need to get a pool out there, then we'll have everything, and kids have everything. But with the new auditorium and all, it really is a nice complex, and they really do keep it up. Coach, you can talk about your administration. You've got one of the administrators that's been around forever, Coach Mr. Copeland.
Yeah, well, Mr. Copeland is one of those where he's very offhands. He allows us to run our program as long as we're doing it correctly and successfully. He is behind us 100%. And then obviously we talked about Coach Riley, where he is the behind the scenes, and he is obviously, like Coach Gibson was saying, he has a love through his daughter. He has a love for the game of soccer. So I'm fortunate there, where we can always chit-chat about soccer and that. And then once again, Mrs. Wright is without the three of them, and with the principal, Mr. Copeland, I couldn't ask for a better employer.
I think they work together as well as anybody in this county, and people don't realize when it comes to getting kids eligible and kids on track that it takes more than just one person.
It definitely does. There is, when you go behind the scenes, they have to look at transcripts and a whole bunch of athletic eligibility, locations, and things like that. So to keep us in the green, it definitely takes all hands on deck.
Coach Gibson, we was talking a little bit earlier about sharing athletes. Are any of your athletes able to do anything in the summer, or most of them in football and baseball, or?
Most of them do football of the boys. I've got some girls also play basketball, and they do that.
So you share athletes.
Right. Athletes. We share athletes all across a lot of sports.
Yeah. Coach, what about in the off season or the summer? Do you kids what?
It is strange that we share, but not only we don't just share on a athletic level, we also share on an academic level with the IB program, the EPIC program there. So there's a lot of the soccer players are involved in those programs, and some of them have scholarships during the summer as well. We have tennis that takes one or two of our athletes, as well as track is another one. But it's a joy though, because it sees these youngsters fulfilling themselves and being involved in all parts of their school.
And to me, that's the key. For kids to have something to do, because I hate to say this, but kids don't come to school just for math and science. There's got to be something else that grabs them. And I've coached kids. When school was out, they were still hanging around. They may not even have practice, but it's just you can tell a lot about a school. With the extracurriculars. So
certainly.
Listen, I appreciate y'all coming by today, and best of luck on your track and your soccer, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.